Hello, everyone. I'm I'm getting things going here. It's gonna take just a little bit, though. Got to get things going. I am running way late today. An hour late, to be in fact. I bet there are some Europeans out there really confused about the time zone shift right now. But no, you are correct. I am an hour late. It is not as you expected an hour earlier than you would think. This is crazy week for those who need to keep track of which time zone is what, because Europe is currently offset by an additional hour compared to the U.S. because their shift to daylight saving time happened last weekend, and ours is, I think, this weekend. So there we go. All right, I am live on YouTube somewhere, and I am live on Facebook, and now let me go live on Twitch. For YouTubers out there, the show is going live to YouTube. It's just that it appears YouTube has made a change to the way that they broadcast live video, and I can no longer get it to live stream to youtube.com/dungeonsanddragons/live. Instead, it gets its own URL, and I have tried everything I can think of to get it to stream to the main live stream page, and it's just not working. So I don't know what to say other than I'm trying, and if I can figure it out, I will do so, but maybe there's nothing to figure out. I think maybe YouTube is just not doing that anymore. I don't know. A little strange, but there we are. All right, I need to make sure I've got certain things going and certain things not going, because I do have to... Oh, there we go. I hear myself. That's good, at least. Because I do need to make sure that I've got some messaging that's still incoming. That's why I'm delayed. That's why this is a rolling start, and I'll be editing most of this out, except for you on Facebook, who you get to see that stuff. All right, now I see myself finally live on YouTube. However, it is not... Well, someone's here, so that's great. Thank you, Johnny, for being here. I'm not quite sure where you're seeing it. I am not seeing it on my main live stream page, but maybe it's just because I'm the one doing the streaming. Perhaps. I don't know. And I see myself on Twitch. So I think, fingers crossed, we are good to go here in just a second. And I will have the current state of the game worlds here in just a moment as well. So I'm going live at 1 o'clock on Twitch, which is typically when Samus Garobo is on, because all the game worlds are up except for the one that I know he plays on. So I don't mind stomping on his show this afternoon. And for those of you on YouTube and Facebook, there is no more competition, so I figured, what the heck, might as well do a show anyway. For all of you. Okay, cool. Piet is also seeing me on YouTube, so it looks like maybe it's just a visibility to me issue, which is great. Great news. All right, let's start. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Wednesday Lunchtime live stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I am DDO's Community Manager, Cordovan, and I am broadcasting an hour later than usual because we had some downtime today, and I will talk just very briefly about that before... I think what I'm going to do is run the new quest, and I'm going to do it on Thelanis on one of my mains, because that's what I want to do. And I figured since we're going to maybe do a shorter show this week anyway, I thought perhaps I would do that. But let me get started and mention that we did have some downtime today. We went down for our regular weekly downtime, and then we had an issue that prevented us from going back up. But that was not necessarily communicated all the way up the chain to me. But ultimately, it is my responsibility to make sure that you know when the game worlds are open, and in that regard, I dropped the ball on it because I was elsewhere doing other things. I had assumed that the DDO game worlds came back up after their weekly downtime, this typical weekly reset, and I just failed to know that that was not the case, and so there was some extra downtime, a couple hours this morning, where people were kind of left in the dark, and for that I apologize. That is ultimately my responsibility, and I was busy doing other things. Namely, I was getting ready for an interview that's going to happen tomorrow on the DDO side with one Strim Tom, with some of the members of the dev team, and we're going to be talking to him about some Fables of the Feywild stuff that's part of a push in the near future to a couple of different shows, of which you are probably familiar, where we want to do some kind of player reach out interview style things for Fables of the Feywild. So hopefully you can expect to see some of that content in the near future. And then, of course, we're getting ready to release Fables of the Feywild. As you may know, that is listed as releasing on November 4th. It is currently October the 28th, and it is, that means that it's getting pretty darn close to November 4th. Indeed it is. And we are working hard on getting Fables of the Feywild ready to just go on time, looking good. Don't jinx it, but we'll see. So we've got a lot happening here in the near future and a lot to let you know about, and I'm looking forward to doing just that in the near future. All right, so this is a good place to stop and let me go through some chat and mention anything else I need to mention. So related to the downtime, I should mention that Sarlona is still unavailable. We ran into an issue getting Sarlona up and running, and we're doing some work on it right now. It's some hardware stuff. Nothing to worry about. We've got it taken care of, but it's some extra work that has to be done. So our current uptime on Sarlona is 3 p.m. Eastern. Additionally, I know that we also had a downtime for a patch on the Lotro side, and that got extended as well. So all of that combined together to require me to not be streaming, which ended up being a good thing. Originally, at one point, I was like, well, let me just roll the camera and you can watch me type at a keyboard for a couple of minutes. But that couple of minutes ended up being about an hour, so I'm glad I didn't do that. Anyway, welcome everybody here today. We're going to be running The Price of Freedom here on Thelanis. I'm going to be soloing it. And we'll be talking a little bit about what's going on, including things like Night Revels, which is also going on. This is the final weekend of it. It runs through November 3rd. It will be going down the morning of November 4th, that same morn of which we just spoke, a certain Feywild being released. So, we got a lot happening next week, and that means we're doing a lot here on the DDO side. I'm getting some screenshots already and all sorts of things like that, and we're getting ready to go live with this sucker. So, assuming things work well in the next week, which, you know, stay tuned for the downtime, but assuming everything works out, we should have a whole lot to show off, talk about, and such in the near future. But I don't know if I've actually gotten to Price of Freedom on the live stream here yet, because we've had just such a couple of busy weeks here, plus I was out on vacation and stuff too. So, yeah. All right. So what do I see here in terms of Facebook questions? No, Sarlona players are just fine. It's just some of the hardware that supports it being up and running needs some extra work. So that's what's up. Question, with the revamp of Pally's Knight of the Chalice, is there any future plans to revamp Barbs? Reason being is because they are in general a bit lacking and outdated, Master Roll on YouTube says. I have not heard of plans to work on Barbarians in the near future. That's not to say nothing will happen, but I think our priorities are going to be elsewhere in the short term. Up to and including doing some, recent term here, it's been like, say, some bug fix work on Shifter. Those folks have been working on finalizing itemization and all the loot and everything for Feywild, working on just a whole bunch of stuff related to Feywild. So that time to kind of revamp a classic, shall we say, enhancement tree or something is not likely to be happening in the near future. I've heard of some plans. We'll see where we go there, but nothing I want to talk about today. But none of those plans, from what I've heard and seen or heard speculate, like internally as to what we might be doing, have involved barbarians so far. All right, let me get over to Twitch chat here. Any work being done on the chat servers? Yes, Loaf Beef. So we corrected an issue that was causing some people to not be able to connect to their chat very well. Within the past couple of weeks, I guess it was almost 2 weeks ago now. And since then, we've had some persistent issues related to chat connectivity for both a subset of those people along with new people that have since happened. So what we've been doing is we had an engineer do some work on it, and that work led to a change in the way that we're loading it behind the scenes. Currently, guild chat tends to refresh an awful lot, perhaps so much so that it was causing some chat disconnection issues, and that would cause a cascading effect that would essentially lead to frequent chat disconnect and connect messaging to players across the game world. So we're going to be doing some work that will hopefully have an impact on that, and that work will be done in the very near future, as I understand it. So stay tuned for the release note. It's going to be a release note kind of thing, so this isn't something that's going to like happen today or tomorrow. But that's my understanding, is we're doing some work on some of the core chat communication structure that should alleviate, fingers crossed, should alleviate some of these issues. All right. Any plans for a Reaper tree? Nothing I've heard of, sorry. Can't even get me on Twitch. The level cap increase has been postponed, possibly patch 1 or 2 of 48. No. Also, thank you. Hello, how you doing there? Over on Facebook chat. But no, I would say that the level cap increase is not going to be a patch to update 28. That much I can absolutely guarantee you. It will not be. So, but yes, it will be. We have not announced when we will be doing a level cap increase, but we have announced that it will not be happening here for Fables of the Feywild, and that is true. That actually happened a while ago now. Sorry, I didn't really buff myself up before I got going here. Let me do that. Now that these spiders are dead. All right. I'll bring up this person. I don't need a healer backup, but it wouldn't hurt to have someone to pull a little aggro, so why don't we go with the Scarecrow. There we go. Alright. This is just my general suite of buffs. I don't, you know, and I already did Holy Sword, okay. Alright, so I believe I can fly. Alright. So I'm going to do kind of a dungeon crawl through this one. I am simply playing for myself on this one here, on my high-level character. I have run through this quest one other time, but not much. And I just kind of felt like that would be the thing to do here today, right before maybe we delve into Feywild perhaps as soon as next week. I guess we'll find out. And I don't know, it's been a while since I get a lot of crap. I think that's the official word for it. I get a lot of crap about sometimes how often I die in that. And that's perfectly fine. Hey, the video doesn't lie. But this character is the one I probably play the most, like the most, know the most. And I wanted to just be like, you know what? Rather than keep rotating through the worlds on characters that don't yet have the gear that I want. Although this character still has some gear that I want, of course. Plenty of it. But let me play a character I actually play, and played as recently as just a couple days ago. And there we go. Okay, oh, actually, I do have a few pieces of news that I can get to here while I'm doing this. Probably the most important piece of news that I can get to, other than, say, Night Revels ending next week, what have you, is that, and Feywild perhaps coming here. Oh, and now I just forgot it. Gosh darn it. Hang on. Sorry, I'm keeping you in suspense. What was I going to talk about? Shoot. What was I just talking about? Oh, Vaughn. Vaulted Knight. That's what I wanted to mention. I wanted to mention that Vaughn 6 is temporarily closed. Thank you, my brain, for releasing that information. And no longer holding it hostage. Alright, yes. Vaughn 6 is currently closed. We'll be reopening it in the near future. There was an issue with the pillars that had been reported with the release of Update 28, and we were finally able to figure out what the heck was going on there. We do have a fix in the works, but until then, we have shut down Vaughn 6. Vaughn 5 is technically still completable, and that's so that you can take advantage of it if you want to do a, raid, even though you're not going into Vaughn 6 or what have you. So, it's there if you want it. But Vaughn 6 is closed. Vaughn 5 is open, so that's the current status of that. Oops. Any news on hardcore transfers? No. Frankly, the people who need to do work to reopen that have simply not had the time to do it, as I understand it. So that remains in flux. However, there's also no immediate hurry on it, because we are not going into a new season of the Hardcore League, anytime too soon. So, there you go. Actually, I must have missed a Turner's on here, huh? No. Yep. No. No. Oh, duh. Dummy. That's a lot of scorpions. How am I doing on my... I mean, that's not very nice. Oh yeah, I've got the voice of the kobold on this person. It's probably my favorite. And no, I have never actually used my own. I have never actually used my own voice of the timid. I don't know, it just feels weird. Let's see, are these... I don't think this is going to work, but let me try it anyway. See if I can drop their levels down some for the next time that implosion goes off. Nope. Alright. Hey, implosion. Kaboink. There we go. That gives me a little attack damage. Okay, my holy sword is still going, so there you are. I think actually I'm, well, let me not die. Alright. Anyway, I think I'm a war domain, so I think I actually get something for turning, regardless of whether or not these things can be turned. I think that gives me a MRR, or melee, and range power boost, which certainly wouldn't hurt right now, because this is, you know, I'm a cleric. I'm a cleric, people. Come on. But, I'm not dying, am I? I'm not dying. See me not dying? There we go. Boink. Alright, let's get that going. Pop another implosion. There we go. I'm currently in Legendary Dreadnought. I had been doing other things, but should probably, before I jump down, I need to use that shrine, I think, at the start. Excuse me. So I do apologize for the delay in communication today. Its causes were plentiful, but ultimately the responsibility is mine. So, thank you for being patient while we work to resolve our downtime this morning. And we do have everything up except for Solona. And that will be corrected in the near future. We're currently working on it. Oh, I haven't been using my Divine Punishment either. That'll help. Oh, yep. You bet there is. Oops. All right. I wonder... No, I don't think I actually have any detour scrolls on this person, so I think I'm going to have to just do this way. All right. Either kite them or stand still and attack. Ugh, sorry. This is how I play. It works for me. It works for me. Tough. You're right. I mean, this is just how I play. What can I say? I have not died yet. Oops. And that's how long it lasted. Nice. Good going, me. I mean... Damn it, why am I having such trouble here, though? Let me check my weapon when I'm done. Alright. Well, let me try this at least. I'm just doing that for the show. I do have Unyielding Sovereignty to get rid of those neg levels. Give myself a little bit of buffs to help myself out. See what I can do. Oh, alright. Yep, that's good enough. Alright, well, I'm going to do that. So, I think that is basically what I'm going to do here, since I have a shorter show, and I did get to the news. And let me do one last run through chat while I call up our bonus for the weekend. And then I think I will just call it a show here. I think I just need to go, if I'm going to solo it, I think on that character I should just go in on Epic Hard. So, there you go. Reading about the new Augment revamp, need some info for your current Jeweler's Toolkit compared to the new Aug Remover that will be sold in House Caneth store. The Jeweler's Toolkit, it's in the post, right? It's in the post. Somewhere it's in the post. I remember seeing it. I don't want to try to give that off the top of my head, but my understanding is there will still be a use for your Jeweler's Toolkits. Even if it is to unslot legacy augments, there will be a use for your Jeweler's Toolkit. So do hang on to them, PLZ. Alright. I've got that one done. Let me briefly... Looks like I'm getting to where the bonus is. We have got... We have got a 5% Reaper XP boost. That will be running through this weekend, being shut off after November 1st, so that would be on Monday, November 2nd in the morning. All right, so that is our bonus, 5% Reaper XP. According to the calendar there, let me see. So difficult to do damage as a cleric? Well, I think ultimately I just was a little too low for what I needed to be there, right? So I'm not really a main DPS character, clearly, but I was surprised I didn't do a little better. Morning Lord's Kopesh is currently what I'm using, and I'm in Legendary Dreadnought. I suppose I could have switched back to Frenzy Berserker, or not Frenzy Berserker, but Fury of the Wild. Otherwise, I've got some points to spend. Maybe that would help. But otherwise, I'm mostly into Radiant Servant. You can see I've maxed out here. I do have my Dragonborn up all the way because I wanted the hit points and healing amplification. Again, doesn't hurt. I took Memory of Flight because I kind of like it, and I didn't have otherwise on a cleric, of course, a kind of leap-like ability, so it made a lot of sense for that. This breath attack actually has proven quite useful, although less so now that I'm level 30, clearly. And I do have my attack boosted somewhat, but I mostly just dipped into the tree for a few things like natural armor and that. And then after tapping out Radiant Servant, I rounded it up with a little bit of War Priest, mostly to try to help compensate a little bit for the loss of DPS that I have, in addition to just giving me a little bit more tanky and what have you. Some more hit points, PRR, etc. That gives me some absorption. I tend to use this quite a bit. Not only does it give me a little bit better armor class, attack, and damage for 30 seconds, again, as an attempt to compensate a little bit for that. But I really wanted to get that positive energy aura, not just for myself, but for others. So that's really kind of a quick snapshot, despite sort of what you've just seen on the character. And I guess I could just real quick round out what I'm currently using on this character. That's the Legendary Precision Lenses, mostly due to the melee alacrity and the sightful strength. I do have an empty blue there. For the Seraphim, I'm using it clearly, besides just like Death Block and things like that, I'm using it for my turning ability, and again, that's not upgraded. I've got the Stolen Necklace, mostly for a little bit of turning with the Charisma bonus, and the Wizardry doesn't hurt. That could be replaced. The Cursebane Focus is what I'm using for my Trinket, mostly for the magical sheltering, but the Insightful Wisdom and Curse Resistance and Spell Save 16 certainly does not hurt. For the cloak slot, I'm currently using the Legendary Silver Thread Cloak. That's obviously for the Wisdom. But everything else is great too, especially that's where I'm getting my fortification from and my main source of physical sheltering, which of course could be higher as well. Over on the waist slot, I'm using the Legendary Plane Shard Belt. That obviously is for the Constitution. Everything else is just whatever. The Insightful Insight and Insight, it doesn't help. I don't like that, but whatever. I'm using it anyway. This I could also potentially swap out for something better, but I'm currently using it for that Seeker 12 boost, because that does help, of course, a little bit with that. And I don't really have anything that I think I benefit from that combat mastery from. For the hands, I'm using the Legendary Sunstone Gauntlets. That's for the Devotion, the Healing Lore, and the Insightful Physical Sheltering. In addition, that actually gives me a higher bonus to Wizardry. So again, I'm really only using the Stolen Necklace for the Charisma plus 10 right now. And it looks like I've got an open next slot here in the near future. On the feet slot, I'm using the Legendary Flightfoot Greaves. That's freedom of movement, speed, natural armor bonus, and that reflex doesn't hurt either. On this one, we're using the Legendary Death Warden. That is for the 29% healing lore. The rest of it doesn't hurt. That could potentially be swapped out. Although the healing lore is good, but that could be swapped out. For this, I'm currently just using the Epic Armbands of the Silenced Ones. That's for it'll basically cap out my dodge, which, if I recall, is, yeah, I only have a 2% chance to dodge, so whatever. But it gives me that 2%. And then also the insightful dex, and that doesn't hurt a little bit for saving throws. The determined reflex save also is useful there. And then for armor, I'm currently using the legendary scales of the exile. Again, actually, I guess I do have a duplication and fortification bonus. So perhaps this armor could eventually go, although I'm getting my parrying from it, my insightful wisdom 9, and my insightful constitution 9. So I've been very, very loath to let this armor go. I also do have an open blue slot there as well. As you can see, my armor class is currently 139. That's pretty mediocre, but could be worse. My hit points just sitting are above 1,000. That's lowish, but remember, I'm just a cleric here. I do have a 52 constitution and a 66 wisdom. You can see I've got a decent enough, for now, spell positive boost that I could certainly boost up there. But it is what it is right now. And that is my current state of my character, I guess. You can see I've got that 15% melee attack boost, which matters a lot to me, and I've got it up to 15% double strike, which again I could certainly get better. And the main thing I'm really lacking right now, of course, is melee power. So that's something I'm going to have to work toward. Pick up that Divine Might, drop the natural armor from the race tree, will help DPS a lot. Alright, good call. Next week is Extra Life Marathon Show. I guess that's actually right, isn't it? Wow, it's creeping up. But you're right, a week from Saturday is our official game day for Extra Life. And I'm going to be doing that. Stay tuned for the schedule, but we're kind of thinking something like noon to midnight, both DDO and Lotro, both games, just blowing it out on DDO stream and Lotro stream, going back and forth. Going to be doing giveaways and other good stuff, so that'll be the Extra Life Game Day stream. So you'll want to check out DDO stream. We're going to get an assist from some of the DDO streamers here, but should be a pretty good time. All right. Let me pop in. I need Sharn gear on that tune. Okay. Good call. But it's like I say, though, even though I've got some Sharn gear, I can take a look at what I've got. It's hard for me to give up most of the slots here, especially like that armor, because, okay, you know, I can do something better, right? But where else am I going to get that insightful wisdom and constitution and all that in one package like that? However, because I've got the fortification here, that puts, well, what about the legendary silver thread? Well, clearly I want that wisdom 19, and, you know, unless I can find something better than that. And the physical sheltering and all that is the best. So I'm just dropping the fortification from this one. Okay, so it looks like clearly then this one's that, except the charisma doesn't hurt. And I don't currently have a necklace that's better, but it looks like clearly there's something I could do there. I also do have sitting here, this is just for when I need that life sealed, essentially. But that's the only reason I have that. I do have the hollowed gauntlets as well, although I don't need those really at this point, but they're there if I need them based on gear in terms of some of the hollowed and things that I could get. So I would have a replacement for some of that turning stuff that I'm currently getting from something. Yeah, the Epic Seraphim. So there is some stuff I could do there, perhaps I can take a look at. But hey, I actually would really love to hear some more from you folks, because this is my character right now, like it or not. for me. This is where I'm currently sitting. Now, I normally, let me pop over real quick here to the map view. You can see I've been kind of working to max out my trees after doing a bunch of epic reincarnations and stuff like that. So my divine trees are all maxed out, and I recently maxed out Grandmaster of Flowers, and now I'm working on Legendary Dreadnought there as well. And I have clearly some points here to spend in Legendary Dreadnought before we next meet. So... Is there a Lamania Preview 3 in the works? I don't believe so, because we're set to go live next week. So, there we go. All right. Well, hey, that is going to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for being here. And I will talk to you next week. You can find the archive of the shows over on YouTube and Twitch. And we've got a lot to talk about. So stay tuned for a whole bunch of news here in the near future. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you're enjoying Night Revels. And I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.